Welcome, everybody. DJ Dubis with you on the Military Radio Podcast, doing my debut of Vintage Cult Cinema with my very special guest, Gojira851. Thank you so much, sir, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And to kick off this lovely episode that we're going to be doing Killing Zoe from 1993. And just to kind of kick it off, had you seen this before?
I had not.
So what was your first impressions with it?
Not what I was expecting. Not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah, a little bit different. One thing I can say, because there is ties with the director to Quentin Tarantino, it does have a very Reservoir Dogs kind of vibe, True Romance kind of vibe for obvious reasons with that, which we'll get into a little bit later. But basically, Killing Zoe is a 1993 crime film written and directed by Roger Avery and starring Eric Stoltz, Jean Hughes Anglade, and Julie Delpy. Story details a safecracker named Zed who returns to France to aid an old friend in performing a doomed bank heist. So basically, Eric Stoltz, who we have here, is a safecracker who has a childhood friend played by Mr. Anglade here, who goes by the name of Eric. Mm-hmm. And basically, they're childhood friends, but Zed comes to Paris to help out on a bank heist. And while he's there on his first night, he's in a hotel, kind of like just chilling and relaxing and getting situated, but he gets told by the cab driver that drives him there that he can get a nice evening with this lovely young thing, Julie Delpy, playing Zoe, who is a call girl by night, but during the day, she has another daytime job, which we'll get into. How do you like this setup with how it starts out?
It's a nice setup. He's definitely a fish out of water, as that is. He doesn't understand the language. Definitely a fish out of water. And he's eventually, learning about. And then he gets to the hotel and he's shown very obvious things. It's like, okay, yeah, it's definitely a remote control. Yeah, okay, that's definitely a toilet. Yeah, okay, it's definitely a bed. Okay. And it's funny, the guy actually is like, a tip. It's like, okay, you want a tip for showing me obvious things? Okay, fine, I'll give you a tip. And he's like, okay, how does this work? And then the guy actually reaches into the wallet and actually takes some money. It's like, okay, you reach into my wallet and start taking money out of my wallet. You're going to lose a finger, but whatever. It's just how the money goes. That is how things go in this is what the movie. Okay, whatever. And then we meet Zoe, and it's like, I know you. Just the look on her face, like, I know you. I've seen you before. And in our private conversations, we're big werewolf fans. It's like, I know you. Like, oh, shit, I know you. American Werewolf in Paris. It's like, yep. I am one of the psychopaths that actually like that movie, okay? Yeah, it's not as good as American Werewolf in London, okay?
The only problem with Paris, it's a great movie, but the only problem is the werewolf look and the CGI. That's it. The story's great. It's fun. The actors are good. It's a blast. It's not as good as Werewolf in London, but it's enjoyable if you can get past the werewolves that look like ass.
Right. Yeah, the wolf in the first film is a very practical one, and it's very terrifying. Plus, with the violence, everything. The second one, it's more tame. But I'm like, that's you. I knew you. And it's like, okay, and then we get into the thing where they spend the night with well, not really the night. They spend the hour with each other. Okay? It's not really a night because then we meet the friend. Eric,
I think he paid for a night, but ends up only getting a couple hours worth.
It's like okay, and it's like and we get a lot of fun little symbolism, which with the film Nosferatu, the original film Nosferatu. It's like. Hey, I saw that film. It was actually a fun story. It's actually the first film I watched on Netflix when it first launched back. It was like 2006, I think, when it first launched. And I see all the little fun little symbols. Like Yeah, it's a sex scene, yes, but it wasn't like an over the top sex scene where they use a lot of symbolism from the film to actually fill in the gaps of what they're actually doing. And it's like it's fun. It's like kind of like Austin Powers before Austin Powers. It's just it's fun and interesting. Just yeah, blah 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 blah. Anyway, so and then we get to meet the friend. And okay, this might be a little blasphemous to say this, but okay, the Heath Ledger Joker. This guy is right up there with how nuts he is compared to the Heath Ledger Joker. Okay, and then we'll get into the whole bank scene later because I see a lot of parallels, to how well something can work and how not well something can work, in as far as bank heist and stuff goes. But yeah,
Yep.
this guy is an absolute nutcase. Okay, so while Zoe is getting cleaned up after her time with Zed.
It
He's
should
like,
be noted too, real quick before I don't mean to cut you off, but it should be
okay,
noted that they have their sex and there's this kind of weird dialogue that happens between her and Zed in bed. And so like she's like, I really like you. You're different than the others. And even though she's like, well, this was the first time I actually had an orgasm with somebody, but Zed, he's trying to be polite, but at the same time he understands what her profession is. So when he says, oh, is that what a prostitute would say? And she gets mad that he calls her that. And then he says she's like, I'm not that. And then of course he backtracks a little bit, and the idea is like somehow they've got this deeper connection now, just after meeting for the first time, even though she has no idea who this guy is or what he does for a living. But yeah, continue on with the shower scene.
okay, so she's in the process of getting cleaned up. He's like, no, 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 you're just another working girl. Okay, you're nothing. Okay, so he actually takes her and shows how much of a psychopath that he is. Doesn't even let her get dressed and throws her out in the hallway completely naked. It's like, what's wrong with this guy? He's a complete psychopath. Like, what, dude? What's wrong with you? And he actually leaves her out there for several minutes. Her banging on the door. And here's the little fun thing. While we're doing, the watch thing between us, there were no subtitles.
Yeah.
So I can only assume that yeah, she was actually, hey, let me back in. I gotta get dressed. Hey, jackass, let me give my clothes back on. And he's like insulting her and everything. This dude's a prick, a real big prick at this point. It's like, okay, at this point, he's just being a prick. We this first encounter with him in this film, and just being a prick, absolute prick. And eventually he gives her clothes. She gets her clothes and she goes. And then they go out on the town. And that's when we get to meet the rest of his group of friends. We come to find out that that's the crew. I need to back up a little bit. Zed had a package delivered. Inside the package, we'll find out what's in the package later. But when we meet the crew actually is the crew of the other bank robbers. Inside the package is actually all of his tools to actually break into the bank.
Yeah.
And then they actually start looking over the floor plans of the bank, and actually want to find out where they're going to break in. They're like, oh no, it's going to take hours to do this. You're going to take hours to do that. Oh no. And actually, Zed actually looks at the plans and is like, oh wait, I'm just going to break into this wall, and then I break into this wall. We're going to go around this way. Without pictures and stuff, it's hard for music, but he figures out, he's like, oh, you're a genius. Yes. Okay, cool. Then they go out on the town and they consume an unholy amount of drugs and alcohol. It's like, how are you all still alive?
Yes.
And then you're going to rob a bank the next day. It's like, okay, you all shouldn't be able to move, let alone go rob a bank. So then we see
there is a key point here. So as they're traveling in a couple cars, and they're fucking high as fuck, they're kind of overlooking Paris a little bit. I have a clip, and now you and I talked about this after we watched it a little bit, so it's going to come back full circle towards the end. But the channel that I'm borrowing the clip for, it's called "I'm Making a Movie." So shout out to him for his review, but I wanted to use this clip because he states something very important that a lot of people I feel like miss in the movie when they watch it. So it's only about a minute long, but it talks about, and we can kind of talk about a little bit both now and towards the end. But here's what he has to say about this whole like drug induced scene the night before the heist.
And
during this prolonged, trippy drug sequence, the character of Eric, who is Eric Stoltz's character's childhood friend, confesses the most important part of the film.
It's really good gear, isn't it?
You know, I have AIDS from the needle.
Did you catch that? I must admit, on my first viewing, what with the sound of the road and the music pounding and the trippy lens effects, I did not. Jean Hughes' Uncle Aide's character has AIDS, and this is the only time in the entire film that it's mentioned.
Je travaille ici, c'est un client. Il a besoin de soins.
But knowing that information gives this scene a lot more context.
Yeah, so there you have that. So keep that in mind because, again, this is something that I brought up with you when we were watching the movie. Like, it's a little weird that it's never really talked about, but it's something that should be talked about just in terms of Eric, the shitty dude, and what happens at the end there. So yeah, so as you said, they're kind of going through this drug binge and drinking, and like the night before they're fucking supposed to do a heist, and it's like, dude, how do you even like operate at that state? You know, this guy's like Zed's like a big time safe cracker. I'm like, you gotta be able to think on your feet and do all this shit, but these guys live by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, they have fully automatic weapons. They've got shotguns, pistols. They've got safe cracking weapons. Not weapons. They have safe cracking, tools. Zed's got calculators. He's got things that like mix different like chemicals and everything's like you just drank like half of Paris the night before and everything. And just like no, like. Sake of the movie, fine. We're gonna move ahead. Okay. All right. So just keep going.
So, yep, go ahead. So what's up, buddy? How you doing, Jedi? Do you want to give a shout out also to Kevin Splinter, who stopped by as well to watch? Appreciate you guys' support and hanging out with us today. It's very cool of you. Thank you. So go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So the next morning, Eric Stoltz's character, Zed, actually does show some signs. What's up, Jedi? How you doing? Of a hangover, but everybody else is just running around like maybe they just do this every night and they're just trying to show like a tolerance, I guess. And it's like,
what's the old adage? Like you drink yourself into a stupor, then the next day you just grab some more beer and just keep going.
I guess it's liquid courage, I guess maybe, but okay. So they're all, cranking up and they're all fine. But, Zed wakes up. He's like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this. So also, I'm sorry. I'm talking so fast. Go back. So he actually says to them, like, guys, this is like a 2-week job. They're like, no, we're doing this tomorrow. No, this is a 2-week job. Do this tomorrow. Okay, fine. So they figure out, no, they're doing tomorrow. It's the day. So they steal.
It's a weird thing too that they're doing it because the day they've chosen is a day when most places are closed. Mm-hmm. So they figure there's going to be less people on the road. It's like almost like a holiday or whatever, and so they want to go in there to this bank that's the only one that's going to be open at the time. But I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but that means that if something gets tripped like an alarm, they don't have to worry about anything else going on in the city because you are at the one place that's open.
Mm-hmm. So they get a big ass truck. The back is completely empty, and they gear up with all their best weapons. Our main villain, our main bank robber, Eric, he has an MP5 with a triple stack mag. Never seen that before, but everybody else has shotguns. Because one dude has dual gold plated Desert Eagles. Like, okay. The only one who doesn't have any guns is Zed, and he's got all of his equipment, and they go inside and they start to, take over the place all Dark Knight style. And it's like, okay. And they start rounding up all of the, bank tellers. Come to see, one of the bank tellers is our Zoe.
Yep.
Okay. And now Zed does not see Zoe. They bring Zed downstairs to the big vault. Okay. And they want to start, taking over, but Eric seems like want to just make it easier just to get in, and he just wants the combination. Hey, Kevin, how's it going?
So, buddy.
But the three tellers, they won't give up. They won't, give the information. So Eric, he pulls out a gun. And he's like, "Oh, give me the information." "No, I won't give you the information. Give me the information." "No, you won't." So he kills them. Okay. So they go with the plan of just breaking into the one vault, getting up to the other place, go to the other place. So then we get on with the whole hijinks of actually breaking into the vaults and everything.
Yeah, I think one thing is interesting too throughout this one. Once the bank heist starts, we see Eric's characters start to devolve even more into sadism and the extremes that he'll go to get this job done, because like this is his dream heist. He's going to get all the goods, and they're not going to have to worry about anything for the rest of their life. But it's to the point now where we see Zed. He's like, this isn't the guy I remembered, even though they were not angels as kids. This guy's willing to go to great lengths, even murder, to get this job done, which is something that Zed wasn't really prepared for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Zed actually said, I thought you said no one was going to die during this. And Eric is like, "Oh, you're a crier boy now. Everything was supposed to go perfectly to plan. This wasn't going to happen." And they have all the guns. It's funny. They all brought masks and everything to this heist. And then like halfway through, like, "Oh, fuck these stupid masks. I can't see shit in these things." So they just give up on all that stuff. And yeah, it just shows, how a plan works in like the Dark Knight or something, at the beginning of that, how they immediately get in, get the money, get out. Where in this, it's almost like Dog Day Afternoon, where they think they're going to have everything going. One little mess up, now everything just goes to shit. They start firing weapons. "Oh, don't worry, the cops aren't coming, everything." They fire the gun just once. There's cops outside. They don't tell Zed, by the way. Zed has no idea. He's downstairs. He's in the vault.
Zed thinks everything's kosher until the guy's like giving him like, yeah, he's like, mentioned something about the cops, and Zed's like, "What? What are you talking about?" He had no clue.
Eric comes downstairs. He's like, "So how's the vault coming?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's coming along great. Yeah, how's everything?" I was like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine." And it's like, there's like gunshots upstairs. It's like, don't worry about it. Yeah, we got everything under control. Eventually, they disarm one of the security guards, but they didn't take all of their guns. So one security guard actually has one of his guns. He actually fires and actually kills one of the other crew members, injures the guy with the Desert Eagles. More firing, more yelling, more yelling, more yelling, more yelling. That's what brings the police. Now, Zed doesn't hear that. He continues with the vault. He gets his vault door open, and they actually get to the smaller vault, which is the hallway to the other vault. Now, there's a secondary security guard inside of there. And he starts firing. He doesn't like it. So Eric and another guy are like, "Hey, buddy, hey, let's just walk away. It's okay." He keeps firing. So they actually take a piece of, "Hey, Anthony, how's it going?" And Big Bad Wolf here as well, too. Nice.
Yep. Got the crew in here.
So they actually take a piece of explosive from Eric Stoltz's bag. And he's like, no, that's too much. Like, shut up. Get out of here. It's like a little piece of C4. Now, the funny thing about C4, now it might look small, but C4 actually works in big explosives. It might look small, but kaboom. So they actually take it, they light it. Now, as last time I checked, it needs a charge for it. Now, it might not be C4, but it's a small charge. It looks small, but they throw it, explodes. It's a big ass explosion, and it's this is like one of the funniest part of the movie. Probably, maybe there's a lot of funny parts of this movie. Eric Stoltz runs, he gets cover. Then he comes back. He sees that Eric and his buddy are down. Like, "Oh no, they're dead, and they're like, "Ha ha, we just fooled you." Nah, nah, it's just fun stuff. They go, they get inside, and they see that the entire area is, it's blown up. And then they see their loot, a huge pallet of gold. It's like, that's awesome. And then you start to think about it. What the hell are they going to do with all this gold?
Yeah.
Needs a primer. Yes, needs a primer. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I
just
think
light
one
it.
of the banker or heisters was like, why don't we just take the cash? He's like, well, it's actually speaking to Zed, and he's trying to be all smart ass, like, yeah, we should just take the cash too. And Zed's like, well, yeah, you could. And then when you get caught, then you go to prison for fucking life because you can't trace the gold.
Yeah, but where are you gonna? What are you gonna do with all that gold? Especially, well, how are you gonna move it? Now, we're not talking like a few bars. We're talking an entire pallet that weighs probably like a ton. This thing. This is like a huge pallet of gold. It's like, one, it takes two men to move this thing. So, and they're not moving it very fast. It's very slow that they're moving this pallet of gold. Number two, where are they going to bring this gold to get rid of it? Three, all of it's marked gold. So who's going to melt this? It's like, wait a minute. Cash is easier to like get rid of, like in the Dark Knight. Again, just using that. It's like they have laundering places to like wash it, clean it, go through other banks and get rid of like other business. Like, what are you gonna do with all that gold? It's so it's like, okay, maybe I'm overthinking it, but anyway, so Zed is actually moving the gold up with one of the other guys, and he's like, oh yeah, so this is gonna be great. And like, oh yeah, what about the cops outside? Cops? What cops? And so that's where everything starts to fall apart. So if you want to take it away from there.
Yeah, so obviously, shit has been going crazy up at top while Zed was trying to get into the safe. So he has and I guess it must be like very soundproof between the floors because you can't hear the gunshots, you don't hear the chaos, people screaming. So once Zed figures out that, oh, shit's not as good as well as he thought it was, and now they also are on the hook for some deaths from Eric killing a couple people downstairs where he got to witness that. There's even a comment that Zed makes to Eric. He's like, are we going to go to prison for killing, murder here? And Zed's like, or Eric's like, I thought they didn't have the death penalty here. And Zed's like, well, that's what they tell you. So apparently France really doesn't have the death penalty, but they were kind of doing some tongue-in-cheek shit there to try to make the story and plot roll along. But Zed, finds out that shit's not going as well as they thought, and Eric's been lying about shit. And of course, he's already noticed that, Eric's been kind of just off the rails anyway since they got there. And so basically, he gets upstairs and he ends up bumping into Zoe, who actually gets a hold of the machine gun. And she, she doesn't really know how to use it, but she's just kind of firing at whatever's in her way, and she's escaping. Actually, I think she ends up shooting Eric in the foot, which really pisses him off even more. So now he's having a bad day.
Yeah.
So he's chasing her, and then the other guys are chasing her, and she catches up and runs into Zed. And Zed, of course, lets her go because he cares about her and he doesn't want her hurt. He didn't know she was there. And then when Eric confronts him, this is where you get this turning point of their relationship as friends, childhood friends. It's like we kind of knew it was coming, but we didn't expect it to be as harsh because Eric's basically like, well, we're really never friends. I don't really know you anymore. And then he actually cuts his face of Zed. And so it's kind of like it was just a means to an end for Eric to get the gold and the money. I don't think he might have even killed the rest of them on his own. We don't know, but that's sort of the kind of guy he is. He just doesn't care too much about humanity as a whole. So Zed's hurt in the face, and he ends up regathering with Zoe, and they're trying to escape through the downstairs, which then eventually they're confronted by Eric again. And again, this brings us back to what I showed in that little clip, because while the other guys are fighting with the cops who are now storming the bank to get in. Eric knows that it's pretty much over. There's nowhere for him to go, and he can't take the gold with him anywhere. He's kind of gone into madness. There's even a point where he was just sitting by the gold and kind of petting it, like he's just in his own fantasy world.
Gollum.
Right, my precious.
Yeah,
my
exactly.
precious. Yeah. So he ends up coming down the elevator and he bumps into Zoe and Zed, and now he's ready just to kill them. He does fight with Zed a little bit hand to hand, but eventually gets the better of him, and he's getting ready to shoot them with the shotgun. But then the SWAT team is there and they end up gunning him down. Now it's kind of, you could call it overkill, but I don't know. I guess they were just making sure he's going to be dead, but. We talked about how earlier in the drug-induced thing that he admitted that he had contracted AIDS through the needle because he's a heroin user, which was a pretty big thing for that time period for the disease was through needle work. So he's getting shot up, blood's going everywhere, and it's certainly getting in their mouths because they're on the ground there in front of them. And it's just a big bloody mess. And I was telling Gojira the day we were watching, I was it's weird to me because ever since I saw this movie, I do love it a lot. But the ending is never really as happy as you might think it is, because despite them getting out and her still loving him and vouching for him, not letting the police take him away or all that, there's this idea that they've got blood all over these wounds they have, and it got in their face and their mouth, and you can contract it through that blood transfer. So it never gets addressed at all. It's to me, that's something that's a big deal, because it's almost like Eric still kind of got the win, even though he died. It's he still managed to kill them, only maybe slowly. What are your thoughts on that whole ending sequence?
Yeah, it was made back in the 90s. I'm not sure if they were up to date on the whole medical thing behind that.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak out of turn, about it. But yeah, they might not have been aware that blood might have been an idea of it. It might be just a big huge hand wave at that moment. Yeah, we just got to wrap it up. Again, I was watching the show House, and the character Dr. Cameron, she was treating a character, a patient in the show, and he had AIDS in the show, and he coughed up blood, and it got on her face, and the idea of it was some of it might have gotten in her eye as well. So she was put on a huge regimen of medication as well. They check after 30 days and the additional 30 days. So it's yeah, they knew, but that was in the 2000s that they came out. So maybe back in the 90s, they might not have known about that. So they might have thought about that as maybe only as a STD, perhaps. They probably didn't know to go further back into it, but perhaps. I don't know. That's the only example or excuse I can come up with, perhaps, for that.
Yeah. How did you like the ending in terms of the shots and everything? Because one thing I've read is that the director was kind of using the colors of the French flag at the time, where in the early part of the movie it's kind of like a white look, and then as they get into the bank, it's a little bit more red, and then of course in the drug-induced, the blues cafe or whatever they're in, it was kind of bluish. So they were going by these colors, and I didn't really pay attention to that, but I can see it now that they kind of explain that. So in terms of cinematography and the ending violent shots, what did you think of that ending?
It looked great. It reminded me a lot of Clockwork Orange, this film, the way how it was done, the way how the scenes were done. And wait, hang on a sec. That'd be something that address an actual zombie movie. They did something like that in 28 days later. Was it 28 days
Yep.
later or 28
Yep.
weeks later? I think it was 28
It's
weeks later.
the second one with Gleason where he's looking up and the bird drops blood into his eye, infects
Yeah,
him right away.
they
It
did
might be
some.
the first film, but I thought it was the second one. But it's definitely that scene with Gleason that happens.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, but 20 years ago. Yeah, okay. Technically, okay.
You know,
Okay.
are we really going to be technically? To me, 28 days later, still zombies. I don't care.
Um. Uh. But no, the cinematography of the film looked great. Reminded me of Clockwork Orange with it. The whole thing with the shots and the kill, it reminded me a lot of Scarface with Tony Montana, with him being gunned down at the end of it. It's funny, actually, the suit he was wearing actually kind of resembled what Tony was wearing. Not the exact same thing, but it just looked great. The riot gear that the French police were wearing as well just looked really cool as well. It was really well done. I liked it.
Yeah, especially with
I thought it was funny. He kind of led to his own downfall as well because he had the shotgun. He had a shot left, but he wanted to be dramatic. So he wrapped it. He pumped it one more time. He spit it out. He spit his one last shot, just being dramatic. He spit out a perfectly good shot. And
Right.
or at least if I'm remembering it right, he spit a perfectly good shot. And he's like, okay. And he wanted to say the one bad guy one last time. And then he's like, then click. It's like, oh, you want to be a tough guy, but it's like, okay, if I'm misremembering it, then okay, shame on me. I only seen the film once, but you wanted to be a dramatic, but it's like, okay, your drama, ended up being, taking away your last laugh pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how it was because he thought, like, at least if he's going to die, he's going to take them with him, which he still kind of did. But the end result was he was going to shoot them. He spent that shot when he clicked it. And when he hit the trigger, like nothing happened. That's when the SWAT team just gunned him down out of nowhere. It's like just finished him off. The cool thing, though, I did like it also was there's a couple things with the drug use scenes that they used in the film. So the first one, when they're in the cafe, there's that point where they're so fucked up and they're looking at the band playing. You see like the cartoonish notes, musical notes playing. Mm-hmm. So apparently one of the artists from Looney Tunes had done that, to put that in there for them. The other thing was this was the first film where they used, like, I guess this technology at the time that was new from the auto Nemen swing and tilt lenses that they were using in the film, but it added distortion during the drug sequences, so that, like, instead, usually it's used to clear it up, but they reversed it so where, like, you see this kind of like his head, it's like almost like a shadow wave or a trail that you might see. So some of the blurriness and all that. So they purposely did that to kind of give you the feel that, like, you were on heroin just like they were while watching them. It's pretty wild. The other notes in here I didn't know at the time. Apparently, Tom Savini did some of the makeup work as a favor to the director in this. So I thought that was kind of cool. If you remember also the concierge of the bank that gets shot early in the film, that's porn star Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy. Yep, Ron Jeremy. Oh, yeah. I said, hey, Ron Jeremy. Oh, there goes Ron Jeremy. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Hey, I was like, oh, yeah, dude looks like Ron. What is Ron Jeremy? You can't mistake that guy anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, apparently the director Avery was supposed to make a sequel to this that was going to have Zed and Zoe avoiding authorities, but there was this gap between the films, and part of that reason is Avery was arrested for a DUI in which a passenger was killed, so he spent some time in jail. Yeah, so that pretty much ended his career for a while in terms of filmmaking. But then he finally did come make a sequel, and I didn't know it was a sequel, but it's not a direct one. So basically, it's probably it may end up being like a trilogy of sorts, but the one that they did in 2019 called Lucky Day is supposedly tied to the film in terms of like maybe bank heist or something like that effect, but has nothing to do with the first film as originally intended. But now I have to check that film out just to see what it's like.
Okay.
Oh, so also Avery, when they were premiering this movie in France, he was going to go watch the premiere to see how people responded to it, but he opted instead to go see Brandon Lee's The Crow at the time. So kudos to him. They're giving Brandon some love there.
Oh, that was a great little film that came out. So yeah, big ups to him on that. So yeah.
Right. The other thing is like it's weird because even though there are Blu-rays of this film, like we always often wonder why companies like Criterion or Kino don't get their hands on it. Well, apparently Lionsgate is not satisfied with any of the offers these companies are coming to try to put them on there. And I'm like, why not? You guys aren't really doing much with it yourself. So like if you're not going to do anything special with it, why not just go ahead and let Criterion or Kino deal with it and then do whatever special features they can do because they do good work. So
Right.
I don't know why Lionsgate is being so hard headed. They kind of like don't care about the film, but yet they don't want to give it up either. So it's kind of weird.
Probably like Shout Factory doesn't do anything with it because they pretty much do anything. They pretty much do any movies, pretty much. So
Well, one thing I read was I can't remember if it was who the person was in terms of like how it works within their industry, but Avery must have pissed off somebody who was either bad mouthing the film or whatever. So he sent out a bunch of emails to people basically exposing that guy. And that's the guy that's in control of whether or not you can do special features with the film and all that. So,
no,
yeah.
That's how it is, huh?
Yeah. Well, apparently Avery's he's kind of like Tarantino in some ways in terms of like he wants to do things his way, which I respect, obviously, but it also means that you're not going to get very much financial support if like no one else has any say. So like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it on your own. That's just how it works. You got to do your own like crowdfunding or whatever. So he's fortunate at the time that when he did this, he was scouting for locations for Reservoir Dogs for Tarantino because he also wrote the script for True Romance. That's why there's some similarities with the lovers and stuff like that in those two movies. But he found the bank and he told Tarantino, but Tarantino's like, well, we don't really have a use for this, but if you have a script, you can use it. And he's like, he lied, said he had a script. He didn't, but he had one made up right away. So that's what Killing Zoe came from. Even though Tarantino kind of like co-opted it. So that's kind of cool on his part. Let's see. Yeah. Certainly. I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like, you can only be hard-headed for so long, man. It's like eventually you're going to have the fans are going to want this stuff. So it's like, even if Lionsgate tries to do it themselves, or as Goji said, Shout Factory or Criterion or Kino, like somebody's going to do it. So just let them do it. And then the last bit of notes on here, and this is supposedly this movie was considered a bomb, but it actually was kind of a success in terms of how they marketed it. So Avery went and he only released it in like 50 theaters, but he only needed that so he can get it into Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and stuff like that in order to have it shown on VHS. So technically speaking, even though we don't have any data to support it, he said that this movie was actually quite successful, even in comparison to True Romance, which had a bigger theatrical release. So I thought that was kind of interesting on that as well. It's like the guy who has the rights to the original Dawn of the Dead now, and he's butthurt. Just yep, exactly. And so it's unfortunate for the fans when this shit happens. Like, because I love this film. I have this one here that I've had for ages, and I have it on VHS as well. So it really stuck with me. I really enjoyed the shit out of it. And in fact, I watched this more than I ever watched True Romance, which is still a great film itself. So that just tells you how much I appreciate this film. So Goji, after all is done, like, how do you feel about the movie? With your final thoughts, and what is your rating out of 1 out of 10 for Killing Zoe?
Well, like I said before, it's not what I expected as a movie. From the title of it, I was expecting like a revenge film, like especially starting the film off. I thought it was going to be like
Killing
you
Zoe.
know, yeah, well, yeah, that they were going to make love, and then Eric was going to be a dick, and then she was going to end up getting killed towards the middle of the film, and then the end of the film was going to be Zed going on like a rampage and wanting to save her life, not save her, like get revenge for her, and like almost kind of like the Crow in a way, almost. And now I'm describing like the Crow almost, but
That's what exactly what I was going to say. You're describing the Crow.
exactly, yeah, it's like now, yeah. But yeah, it's a completely different film than I was just thinking of. But for what it is, I'd have to describe. I give it about an 8. I'd say. It's yeah, I give it this movie about an 8. It's a product of its time, which I love films from the '90s, and not knocking it for that. I wish I had a little bit of a bigger budget behind it, which films like this, you always wish there's more for it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I love the cast. I thought everybody did an outstanding job in this. I think Eric, the actor who portrayed him, did an outstanding job. I keep on bringing up the Dark Knight and Heath Ledger's Joker. I think he's just as nuts as Heath Ledger's Joker in this. I think that's like one of the biggest compliments I can give to someone. That's how crazy he is. I highly recommend you watch the movie to see how crazy he is just for that. Now, I'm not saying he's like just as, because that's a comic book character, because it has what, God, 80 years of history behind it, but he did an outstanding job in this, especially from beginning to end. And he's not like the shark from Jaws, where he's there every so often. You're with Eric from almost the beginning of the movie all the way to the end, pretty much. And he's
there's
still
always crazy shit happening.
yes, and just to see all the insane things that he does, and just he's nuts. Eric Stoltz's character, Zed, he does an outstanding job. Just great. The side characters, the crew, they're fun. I think there's too many of them, though. They get lost in the shuffle. We need a bunch of guys.
If you were thinking in terms of like, say, Point Break, like where they keep it down to like 5, here we have like 6 or 7 of them, and it's like there's really no depth to them. Even when you have the party scenes, like we really don't know much about them outside of the fact that they just kind of come and go.
It's like, I remember the religious one with the blonde hair. I remember the one with the dual Desert Eagles. After that, I don't remember any of them. It's like they're just guys then at that point. And then they're just waiting for them to get gunned down then by the security guard. It's like, okay. So it could really have been like 4 or 5 guys. Like including Eric, including Zed, the religious one with the yellow hair, and the guy with the desert. It could have been just them at that point. It's like, but that's just me. Zoe, I thought she was fantastic in the film. Most of the film, see, the point of me missing the him saying that he has AIDS, most of the film was in French, which is an US/French film. Yeah, a lot of it could be missed with the interpretation, and with that, I didn't catch that when he said that he has AIDS. Yeah, because one, it was in the car. It was very loud, and a lot of the scenes, they were speaking French, especially for a good 5 minutes, I'd say. They were in the apartment /
That's why I asked you at the time. I was like, do you need me to go and like find the dialogue? And you're like, no, I kind of grasp what they're doing here, and by their actions and everything. So,
but yeah, I didn't. But this was early in the film when they were inside the apartment. It's like for pretty much that entire scene, besides Zed and Eric, there were only 2 people speaking English. Everybody else was speaking French, pretty much. It's like, okay, so at that point, it's like, okay, pretty much everyone. It's like it's easy to lose translation in that. At least for me, it was at that point. But the rest of the film, you kind of pick up through action, which that's another cool thing about towards the end of the film. you pick up through action what they're doing, which is another great thing that I liked about it. It's like, okay, one scene. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't need to go back, but one scene when the police do show up, they call, and just like in Dog Day Afternoon, they call and they want open dialogue, which is another big thing in these. They did this in House, they did this in Dog Day Afternoon, they did this in other bank heist things, just blah 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 blah. They want to open dialogue, talk to the bank robbers, talk to the hostage taker, and just release the hostages, blah blah blah. They actually want to, figure out a way to end this problem. So they actually, try to figure out. They bring the guy outside and they shoot him to show that they mean business. But at first, Eric is like talking to him. It's like, okay, I kind of figure out he's saying, okay, he's not going to, but he's going to. He's going to bring out one guy. He brings him out. He kills him to show them that he means business, pretty much. So I figure that's what he's going with. So you figure out through action in this. It's not just dialogue, but you actually figure out through action as well. So you don't have to really understand what's going on. So, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I've always loved this film. Had it for a long time. I thought it'd be fun to kick off our new podcast series with this, and of course have you on to experience it for the first time as well. Glad you enjoyed it. For me, yeah, it's not quite a 10. I give it about a 9 for me, just because there are some problems within it. But I think, again, like you said, some of it's with the budget behind it, as well as like the hurried scenes and the lack of depth for some of the supporting characters. Pretty much focuses on the main three, which is fine because they are your main three protagonists, or two antagonists, or one antagonist and two protagonists. But either way, still really great film. Do you have anything coming up on your channel, sir, that anybody needs to know about?
Nothing right now. Just waiting for things to come in, and just kind of a holding period right now.
Cool. Tomorrow I'll be joining Fat Samurai Guy and author Rick Myers for Action Film Autopsy. So be looking for that around 6 p.m. Eastern. Eastern my time for that. And then next week I got some stuff coming up. Oh, go ahead, sir. Yep.
I'm sorry. I just remembered. Tomorrow, after I get off of work, I'll be joining the entertainment headquarters. I'm going to be doing a podcast with him and Mr. Anthony Jordan, Movies and Gaming, for Understanding Gundam podcast, where we're going to be talking about Gundam and we're going to be we're going to be teaching him about Mobile Suit Gundam.
No, you can say schooling. Schooling's good.
Yeah, I don't want to
school that Brit. You're gonna school that Brit and Gundam.
That just sounds weird. Okay, I'm gonna geek out about Gundam to him for a while, and I just hope he brings a bag of chips and some water and nice comfy couch, because it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a lot of information. Hopefully, he's got enough memory in his brain to know all this stuff. It's a lot to know. So
yeah, I'm probably gonna be hanging out if I'm available for that, because I know nothing of Gundam. I know who Gundam is, obviously, but what I like about Kevin, this is his new kickoff for his new segments as well, called Education. So he's gonna be doing different things that he's not very well versed in, which is Gundam. And he's going to come to me to do the heavy metal stuff. So future episodes are all going to kind of touch on different things that he's trying to get more familiar with. And so he's inviting people like yourself and me for certain discussions on those topics. So it's going to be pretty cool to see. So Anthony's going to be there with you to talk Gundam. Right. So that's going to be a lot of cool shit. So yeah, just be looking out, man, for content on all of our channels. A lot of cool stuff coming up. And so, yeah, I appreciate you coming on, Goji. It's been a lot of fun, sir. I'll be definitely coming back to you down the line for this show, because I'm just going to be going through people with different movies. But this was a lot of fun. And please hit like and subscribe. And please go like and subscribe to Gojira851 over there, MRJ Productions, as he likes to call it. And the thing that I'm going to kind of do now, because I did do this with some other shows, is I'm going to do a nice little 2-minute tribute to the movie we just reviewed. And I'll see you all next time on the Metal Time Radio podcast, and take care of yourselves.